Hello, everyone. I'm Kia, and today I am in Studio D with my girl Michelle. However, we all know her as Keita with affordable taxes. So I'm just going to jump in with the questions. Okay, Keita, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's
All
just
right.
jump right on in. Keita, my first question is, what's one of the biggest myths people believe about taxes?
Let's see. There are a few myths. One of the biggest myths about taxes is people think that their entire income is taxed at that tax rate. For example, we have a progressive tax system, so it's marginal. So say if you make $60,000, you're not if that's a 22% tax range, but you're not taxed, the whole 60,000 is not taxed at the 22%. So 11,000, the first 11,000 is taxed at 10%, and then from 11,000 to 44,000 is taxed at 12%, and then from the 44,000 to the 60 is taxed at the 22%. So it's kind of like marginal. It's not the whole 60 taxed at 60%. Another myth is the child tax credit. People be like, oh, it's $2,200 per child, but that's really not how it works. So if you get 20, you do get $2,200 per child, but it's not all totally refundable. So some of it will come off of your taxable liability. It's like above the line and below the line. So they'll take some of it from your tax liability, and then the rest of it will come through as a refund. So if you got 2,200 and you have a tax liability of $500, they'll take the $500 from that tax liability to make your tax liability zero. Then you get the $1,700 back in the refund. So that's kind of how it works. So
Now,
that's
I
a
have an extra question.
yes.
So, how many people have come back to you and said, "I heard it was 2,200,
Oh
and it's
my
not"?
goodness. Yes, all the time. Like, I don't know, like around tax season, you see signs in the ground, like lawn signs, and it'd be like, $8,000 for three kids, or you get $12,000 for three kids. And that's just not how it works. It all depends on your income because they do have to earn income tax credit as well. And then it's like you get 4,000 for one child, maybe seven for two, or eight for three, but that all depends on your income. So
Okay.
there's other things that you have to put into play. So people come to me with that all the time, and I
Okay.
have to explain it to them.
I just had to ask because I was just curious. Like, okay, I know I've
Yes.
heard it several times, and I'm like, okay, you have kids? Okay, so my next question is a lot of changes year to year. What are some of the most significant tax law updates or changes people should be aware of this year?
Oh, so there are so many. There are a few, but I'm just going to highlight a few of those. So we did have something called the Big Beautiful Bill that came out with Trump. So some of the things actually they tried to get passed through. They didn't go through all the way, but here are some of the changes. So one of the big ones we heard about was no tax on tips. So we have the no tax on tips up to $25,000.
Okay.
So if you make over $25,000 in tips, anything that's over that will be taxed. But usually for people that earn income or tips, those are usually under 25,000 unless you were like a really big tip earner earning $30,000 in tips. That's a lot. But you will have to pay if you did earn $30,000, you just have to pay taxes on the 5,000. Another one is tax on overtime. That one didn't fully go through, but they did give us something. So as far as tax on overtime, you only get up to 12,500 for tax on overtime. That's for single, and then if you're married filing jointly, you get 25 up to 25,000 on overtime. So anything that you make up to 12,500, you're not taxed on that, and that is for federal, and for Michigan, that's for the state as well. But anything that you make over 12,500, you will have to still pay tax on that. Regardless to the no federal or state tax, you'd still have to pay Social Security and Medicare tax on all of your earnings. That is only off of the federal and the state for the 12,500 for that. Another one is the Social Security. So, of course, they're trying to get the Social Security, no tax on Social Security, which I was really hoping that would happen because I really don't like the fact that people have to pay tax on their Social Security. Now, that didn't get through, but they did give seniors an additional standard deduction. So they get an additional $6,000, $12,000 if they're married, filing joint. Another thing is bonus depreciation. So this is a highlight because all small businesses gets to write off not only their expenses, but they get to write off their assets as well. So for example, in the film industry, we have a lot of new people that are jumping into the film industry. These Tubi movies are coming out. So they don't only get to write off all of their expenses that they have, they now get to write off their assets. So if they buy the big cameras that cost them between $5,000, $15,000, $20,000, rigs, lenses, things that they have on set, they get to write all of those things off 100% in the first year instead of depreciating it. So usually when you have assets and you add them, you have to depreciate them between 5 years, 7 year, and 20 year. With this bill, you don't have to do that. You can write everything off 100%, even your vehicles. Even with the manufacturing companies, and with the manufacturing companies, and they're trying to get more manufacturing companies in the U.S., so when they're buying equipment, they're spending millions of dollars on equipment, and they are able to write it off 100%. So that's pretty good. Another one is the Trump account. Now, this one is pretty interesting. This one is pretty interesting, though, but actually, I like it.
Okay.
I really like it. It's called the Trump account, and it's for kids. So for any children that are born from January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2028, they get $1,000 into an investment account. So the parents can add an additional $5,000 per year, and an employer can add an additional $2,500 per year to this account. And the account grows over time. It's a lot of variables in it, how to apply for it and everything like that. And I'll touch bases in that in another segment. But I think that is really good for kids growing up. It's a way to teach them about financial literacy. And it helps them out. And the way that the pot grows, if it grows at a 7% annual rate, it is great. It could pay for their college and buy their first home.
I agree.
So that's one that I definitely like. That one. Other than that, we have some raises on the standard deductions. You have some extra standard deductions for the blind. And if you're blind and over 65, they have some additional deductions as well. For like the Cash App, people that have small business and they collect their funds through the Cash App, they have the rule now. They only really report it on a 1099K merchant statement if it's over $20,000 and over 200 transactions. So those are some of the highlights for the new tax law.
Okay, look, teach us something today. So my next question is, what are a few simple things people can do year-round to avoid the April panic attack? And I'm guilty. You've been my preparer forever. And I'm always like, okay, I got to get ready.
Yes. File early. So what I do is I send my clients out an organizer. So what happens is that, for your W-2s and all your 1099s, you should have that by the middle of February. If you don't have all your paperwork by the middle of February, you need to call those companies, see where your paperwork is at. A lot of times people send their stuff now electronically. They don't send it via mail. They send it electronically, or maybe if you move, they may send it to the wrong address or something like that. But just try to get in contact with those companies if you haven't received your paperwork by February 15th. Another thing is I send my clients an organizer each year. I don't know who looks at them and who doesn't, but I do allow some of my clients that have a lot of paperwork that I need to receive to send me those things as they get them. So once they receive the organizer, they can send me their W-2s or whatever bank statements or anything that they have to send me as they get them. And that way I can prepare their taxes and we don't have to rush at the end of the year. Because what that does when you're rushing, it just, for the tax preparer, you can, miss out on deductions. It helps you strategize with your client better if you have all of the information up front. So I say just get organized. If you don't have a tax person, I am available. We can actually fit you in. Just give me a call. We can get you an organizer and get you organized, and then give you some pointers on how to stay organized year round so that you don't scuffle with trying to get all of your paperwork in at one time. You can actually collect those things throughout the year and have them ready at the beginning of the year to turn in.
And that makes sense because I probably stress my own self out because I'm one of your last minute people.
Yes.
And there's no reason. So now that you brought it to my attention again to just starting 2025 January, just start being proactive instead of just waiting and panic, because I usually be like, tax time.
Yes, it's exactly. And so when I send out that organizer and it just tells you what you should be expecting and what you should be looking for in the mail, when you get them in the mail, you can just either get a folder, put them to the side, or take them out, scan them, and just send them over to me so that I already have it. And I could be preparing your taxes, and then you'll be like, okay, I sent you everything. And then I can just get started, you know what I mean? And then I can, we can converse back and forth if we need to talk about how we can strategize to lower your tax liability. Those give me a chance to actually help work with you instead of waiting to the very last minute and we're under pressure.
Makes sense.
So we don't have enough time to really think and strategize.
Makes sense. I'm going to do
Yes.
better. I promise. So my next question is, what are some common scams or red flags people should watch out during tax season?
Ooh, some common red flags during tax season is, first and foremost, is the IRS calling you. The IRS will never call you. They will either send you a letter or they will come to your door. They'll have an agent that comes to your door. I am not kidding you. They'll have an agent that comes to your door and they'll show their credentials and their badge and everything that tell you that they are from the IRS. But they will never call you asking for information or asking you to pay a debt over the phone. Those are usually scammers. Another big red flag is, I hate to say, but it's these online dating apps. I've heard so many stories about these online dating apps where people, they'll read someone's profile, they'll fall in love with them through their profile, and they will give these people their information, their personal information, or, they'll start sharing their life with them without even knowing them or without even meeting them, and then they turn out to be scammer or scam bots. They call them scam bots or scammers, and they end up getting your information and you have a whole identity theft problem. One way you can combat that though is the IRS do have something called an IP PIN. An IP PIN is identity personal PIN, where they send you a 6-digit PIN each year, and you can only use that. No one else can use your social security number unless they have that PIN. So that's a great way to safeguard your social security number and all of your tax information. So anyone that has had a problem with identity theft, please apply for a IP PIN. If you are on dating apps or anything like that, maybe you want to consider doing an IP PIN as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Teach me something today. I'm over here like, okay, there are people coming to your door.
Oh, yes.
So I'm nosy. So I have another question regarding that. Do you know anyone that someone came from the IRS to their door?
Yes, I do know someone that the IRS came to their door and they freaked out and they called me. I've had people call me about, they freaked out when the IRS has called and threatened them over the phone, and I just let them know what to do. Now, I do know for a fact that the agents do come to the door, but they will show you their credentials and everything. But usually if there's some type of investigation going on with like a certain type of firm, or some way your information was given to them to come out and talk to you in regards to that firm, or in regards to your personal tax return, they will come out and talk to you about it if they have anything that they're investigating that's fraudulent.
Okay. So, what is the most rewarding part of your job?
So I love my clients. I love my clients. I love the work that I do. I love that, I see the progression in their lives. I get to help them with, getting their financial things together to buy their first home. I get to help them, strategize about saving for retirement. I get to assist them with just, if they've had a hard or rough time with their tax liability, just to straighten them out so that they can get on the right track. Or I've even seen small little hustles turn into big businesses. So it's all rewarding when you're helping someone get through those things, helping them apply for their EIN or just figuring out articles of incorporation for LLCs and things like that. So that is very rewarding. Then also it is rewarding because every client is different. So I learn things that I can even apply to my own life. And I am an enroll agent. So an enroll agent, you have to in order to keep your license, you have to be educated each year. So you have to do continuing education classes each year to keep your license up. But all it does is help you to help your clients, and it helps you personally as well. So those are
Okay.
some of the rewarding things in
Okay,
my
so you
career.
sold me, even though you're already my tax preparer, but you sound very knowledgeable, like you
Yes.
are that girl. So, my last question is, how can listeners connect with you or learn more about your services?
Well, again, my name is Michelle, also known as Keita to my very close friends and family. I own and operate Affordable Taxes LLC. It's located in East Point, Michigan. I do taxes for small businesses, side hustles, freelancers, W 2 employees, and I try to make sure that you guys are accurate and compliant with the tax law. I have face to face appointments in office, and I also have a secure portal where I do virtual appointments as well. You can reach me by going on to my website at www.affordabletaxes.biz. You can also email me at affordabletaxesllc@outlook.com. You can also reach out to me on social media, Facebook and IG Affordable Taxes as well. Or also TikTok. Also TikTok Affordable Taxes LLC. And I also have my phone number if you would like to call and schedule a free consultation. I do offer 15 to 20 minutes free consultation to go over any IRS or state letters if you have them, and to just try to get you on the right track. So if you're looking for a new tax professional, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.